Welcome back to the GHT Overland podcast. This is part 2 of our interview with Hein from Amsterdam. Let's jump right back in where we left off.
You have to change money in order to pay for the ferry. Although you're still in country, everybody is running around. A lot of noise. You don't know where you have to go to. Challenging, absolute challenging. Police officers, they bribe you in full daylight. In the middle of the crowd, they just ask $100 for nothing. They said, why do I have to pay $100? I said, who's going onto the ferry? I already have a ticket for the ferry.
So that crossing that you did at the river there, how did you finally get through that? Did you end up paying the bribe from the police, or...
No. I'm not in favor of paying bribes because if I pay, the guy after me has to pay anyway. Always try to get out laughing, tell a joke, tell them that you have a wonderful country, that it's very nice and the sun is shining and everybody's smiling, and that way try to get around it. I always say, if you can't beat them, confuse them. That works perfectly.
Okay. Perfect. It's a good plan. What is your process for? You kind of walked us through that a little bit ago and said you didn't do much. When you do a new trip, like you're leaving soon to go back, do you go through a certain process to make sure you're hitting an agenda or a schedule, or how is it that you found that it works best for you?
Try to find on internet checklists, several locations, and put them next to each other. Look what's important for yourself. If you, for instance, when you say washing, we do the washing ourselves. Find a local to do it for us. There are people who said, "Yeah, but I want a washing machine." Okay, if you want a washing machine, if that is your priority, then you travel in a completely different way as somebody else. So you have to determine yourself what is important. We have a kitchen inside and also a kitchen outside. Say, well, a kitchen outside is more than enough. If it rains, okay, then it rains. You see, what is important for you, that determines your checklist. Work that off. Check if you can afford it, because you can write down a lot of things, but still you have to pay for it. And in that way, work down the list. I'm going to South Africa next week. I have a checklist from small things which I have to take with me. So I would start preparing things and stuff which I can't buy in South Africa. I buy over here, and in that way you think you have all the stuff. But one thing's for sure: you can think about it and do the planning, but there also always is something which changes during the process, or you didn't think about it, or it doesn't work, or it is broken, and that's part of the traveling. That's part of the business. And I think part of the fun. Don't overplan. Make sure that you have the stuff to survive, but don't overplan. Both the materials, but also in the route you are going. I've talked to people, and they are planning an 8 years trip, and they had, more or less from day to day, they had planned where to go. Then you're stuck in your own planning. If you are somewhere and it is nice, you have a nice surrounding, you have nice people, why go away? Just stay there for 1, 2, 3, 4 days, a week. It depends your own mentality. I think it is important to connect to the local people, not only by food, but perhaps they do something which is useful for you. For instance, in the trucks, also in the Hilux, we have our cupboard doors. Can be removed every time we see a local artist. painter. We go to him and we see a nice painting. He said, "Who painted this?" I said, "I did, sir. I did." He said, "Okay, can you do a painting for me on one of my doors?" Yeah, of course. Why not? Huh? You make a fixed price. We remove the cupboard door, give it to the local painter, and after a couple of days, he comes back with a painted door. And that way, you support the local people.
Very good. Do you do is safety or security a concern for you when you're on the road?
Common sense. Common sense is very important. Bernadette and I have a deal. For instance, if we bush camp somewhere, if one of the two, me or Bernadette, says, "I don't like it here," you don't have to explain to the other person, then we go. That's our safety. If you go, you have to look to the local people. There is any hostility, they say move and find another location. Don't carry guns or knives or baseball bats or something like it. Just common sense. In the big truck we traveled, it is a little that's easier because the floor level of the truck was already 1 meter 30 above the floor, which means that you already have some more overview over the situation, and as soon as the door of the unit is closed, it is for people very difficult to get in. In the smaller, the Hilux we have, we do bush camp, and but we also overnight on campsites, because mostly those campsites are on very, very nice locations. So, common sense is the most important part of the security.
Gotcha. What do you use for navigation and communication? Have you figured out like a Garmin GPS, or do you use any kind of radio for outside communications?
If we're traveling in the civilized world, we always have a telephone with a local SIM card. If we are traveling outside of the civilized world, we have a satellite telephone. We use Garmin for our tracks. And we do that in combination with Maps with Me. Maps with Me is quite easy to pinpoint certain locations, and it is quite easy to transform the maps.
Do you use paper maps as well?
Oh yeah. We use paper maps. Bernadette always has a full set of paperwork in the locations we were traveling, because electronics are nice, but if it doesn't work, you're in trouble. In the north of Namibia, for instance, it's nice to have a Garmin. You know where you are. It's not routable. You have to look in the field, in the desert, where you are driving. You see mountains. You have perhaps a possibility to go over there, or to go left, to go right. As soon as your GPS doesn't work, and then paperwork and a compass is very important. You still have to know the old-fashioned way of determining where are you and where do we have to go to.
Are you able to get maps there? Have you found a source for getting maps locally, or do you source them before you go on a trip and take them with you?
Source them before you go, because then you know that the system is working. Mostly at home you have a reliable internet, and that's as soon as you're traveling, that's not always the case. The best way and to prepare yourself before you go, both in paperwork and with the electronics.
Do you use any sort of solar system on board, or is it just using like the electricity from the engine? How do you do that?
Both our cars and also the cars which I produced for customers have a solar system, household batteries, and a connection to the engine of the car. And in such a way that the batteries are sufficient to run the fridge or the heating system, one of the two, for a certain period of time. And that period of time is determined by the customer. In my case, solar panels are always, they have the same capacity as the fridge, which means that the solar panel can run the fridge for at least a week. For the heating system consumes far more energy than a fridge. 2 days heating system, and then you have to run the car or have to connect it outside to 20 volts or in your case 110 volts.
So the heating system you use, is that electric, or do you use any other, like propane or diesel fuel system?
No, I always use diesel system, from diesel to hot air or for diesel to hot water, and then with normal radiators and a boiler.
Very good. So something that is important to us and really makes us who we are is giving back and doing our part to help others along our path. Any philanthropy or giving back that you do or you've seen that others can do as they take these type of trips?
When you travel, you're a guest in that country. Support the local economy as much as possible. Don't take too much stuff from home, which is possible to buy locally. You see, philanthropy. In our case, we gave a farewell party for our friends and neighbors. No gifts, only money. And the money we used in a project, because during the trip you see several possibilities to give money, but it has to be spent in such a way that it is not only it is a long-term investment. In Malawi was a mission post, and there they educated the children not only in the conventional way with a whiteboard and chalk, paper and pencils, but also in small, simple computers. And we supported them in the purchase of a couple of those computers. The rest they had already under control, but the computer part was something new and very expensive. So the money we received, friends, relatives, and neighbors, was spent in Malawi.
Very good. So let's wrap it up with any fun facts, any hobbies or things that you and Bernadette do while driving on the road?
Make fun and be happy. And a day not smiled is a lost day. You have to make mileage, but if you see nice things, you say, hey, this is nice here. And then we stop, make ourselves a cup of coffee or go for lunch to a local pub or a restaurant for lunch. And it is, yeah, but we don't have anything. Is it a chicken? And it takes an hour, and they find a chicken, and you have lunch. It's also possible to do it yourself, but it makes life more fun to connect to the locals. Otherwise, you stay at home and drive around in your neighborhood because that's not the fun of overlanding.
Yeah, very true. Any favorite drinks in the morning?
Tea in the morning, at breakfast, coffee at 9, 10, 11. And in the evening, if we are in the civilized country and the civilized locations, we prefer champagne and a good glass of wine.
What is your best advice to aspiring overlanders like us?
Don't want to do too much. Keep it simple. It's nice to have a target, and it's nice to have a plan, but don't stick to the plan. If it's nice, if it's a nice surrounding, enjoy it. Bernadette and I traveled in Mozambique Some guy told me, he said, there is a campsite, Pomene. He said, and that's very nice. If you're in the neighborhood, go and visit it. So we saw a small sign, Pomene. So we took the junction. We drove roughly, I think, 30 k's through the dunes. Came on a campsite, lodge, on a perfect location. We stayed there for 1.5 weeks. And then we drove back to South Africa and flew back to Holland again. We had other plans. We just skipped the plans. This is nice. Here we're gonna stay and do nothing. And people were planning. No, it is nice and adapt. And if you're planning for a specific period, don't want to do too much. If it's possible to do 600 k's a day, 300 is also possible, or 200.
Sounds like good advice.
Yeah, it's traveling is enjoying the people and the surrounding, and not collecting stamps in your passport.
So slow down and enjoy the journey.
Yeah.
Smart. Very good. So, Hein, how can people learn more about you and what you're doing and keep up with your trips? Do you keep up a website or any other site of social media?
What we do is all in Dutch, and Dutch is only a very limited number of people around the world. We don't keep a website. When we are traveling, we use WhatsApp for a certain group of friends, so that they know that we're where we are and that everything is okay. And when we are back in Holland, in our case, then we invite them, and we have dinner, and we talk what we have done during our trip, during 2, 3, 4 months that we were gone, but also what happened to our friends during that period. And that way you stay connected with your friends.
Very good. Well, we'll put a link on our show notes page to your website with Google Translate. Pretty easy to take that and translate it into whatever a listener's language would be. And I know I enjoyed going through and seeing those pictures. So those are pretty fantastic.
Yeah, we have the website www.365 and then dagen, DAGAN, Africa, AFRIKA .NL, I think. I don't know. Yeah, NL.
Yep, we'll get that posted. So, Hein, anything that we missed or any other information you'd like to share with us today?
What I found during the years is that the pictures create the attention of the people far more than spoken language.
Yeah, very smart. You're absolutely right.
Yeah.
All right. Well, hey, it was really great to talk to you. I really appreciate your time, and I wish the connection was a little bit better. But safe travels to you, and I hope you have a good trip here. You're leaving next week, right?
Okay. I'm leaving next week to South Africa. Then I pick up the car because it's stationed on the west coast. Bernadette is still working. She still has a job until September of this year. Then she resigns, and I drive to Cape Town, and Bernadette takes a direct flight from Amsterdam to Cape Town, and then we travel around the Cape Town area for 2 weeks, and then we drive back to the East Coast, and we fly back home again. So this is a short trip.
Okay, very good. Well, safe travels to you.
Okay, absolutely no problem, Chris. No problem at all. Greetings to Lisa, and travel safe.
Cheers.
And that's a wrap. What an awesome chat with Hein. Such amazing experience and stories of supporting small towns and villages. Purchasing new computers for a school in Malawi. wise advice of slowing down, simplifying, and enjoying where you are in the here and now. I hope you pulled as much value from Hein's experiences as we did. It's a good idea to visit the show notes page for Hein's interview on our website at ghteoverland.com. Go to podcasts, then select the episode for Hein in Amsterdam. All the details and links to key items mentioned in the interview are waiting for you there. Thank you for listening to the GHT Overland podcast. Remember to give us some podcast love by rating and reviewing this episode, keeping that web magic flowing so we can reach as many overlanders and aspiring overlanders as possible. We'll see you next Thursday. Bye.